Hi everybody, we're going to do a gentle movement class. So we're going to start in a seated position. If cross-legged works for you, great. It doesn't have to be cross-legged. Finding an easy seat and a nice tall spine. Let's take a breath in together and out. Do that again. Inhale, bring your shoulders all the way up to your ears, and then as you exhale, let them fall away. One more time. And starting with a few rolls of the wrists, so you can go one way or the other. Sometimes there's little sounds that come out of there. And then a little more movement for the shoulders, so rolling the shoulders one or both at a time. And a little bit of space through the side body so the right hand can come beside you. Left arm reach up and going over. The right hand might slide away. Try to keep that left armpit up nice and high. You can either look up, forward, or down. Let's take one more breath. Let that bottom shoulder fall away from the ear. And then come back up to your seated position. Other side, inhale, arm up. And then go over. Inhale again, nice and long through the side body. And let's take one more breath here. And coming back through center. Some seated cat and cow tilts. So this is to undulate the spine. You can hold on to your knees if that works for you. Inhale, think about arcing from the low back, like you could stick your hips out behind you and pull your chest up and through. Gaze might go up. And then as you exhale, seated cat, pull back on the knees. Spine goes back, your belly button goes in, and your chin tucks down. So we're going to lift and lengthen, arcing the spine, and then exhale to round, hollow out the front. Now you can tilt your hips. We're going to do that again. Lift up and open, and then exhale down and back. One more time. Coming back seated, bring your hands behind you, and you can lean back a little bit into your hands. We're going to have the feet out. So we're keeping the knees bent, but have your feet wide. If you're facing your yoga mat, you can have it about as wide as your yoga mat. And just gently start to send the knees side to side. So we're going to drop them over one side and to the other. And it's meant to be slow, so we're sort of creating that connection between the movement of the body and the breath. So you might find a pattern that works for you. And we'll do one more each way. Okay, we're going to land. I'm just going to turn sideways so you can see me. We're going to land the knees over to the right. They don't need to be on the floor. They can if that works for you. And we're going to take your left hand and swivel back behind. So you're creating a twist here. You might come down onto your forearms. You don't have to be facing behind. You might be off to the side, but coming into a manual twist that is sustainable for you to be in for a few breaths. If you like, you can also take that front foot and hook it onto the back knee. And some people like to tuck that back heel in towards the seat a little bit. Let's take another breath here. And then coming back up through center. You might send the knees side to side before landing in the other side. So knees over to the left. That hip can come with you, and then that right hand also comes with you to swivel around to set up for your twist. So supporting yourself here on the floor with your forearms. So a great indicator that it's an okay space for you is that you can breathe with ease and there's no pain in the body. So we don't ever want to come to a place of suffrage. We want it to be more therapeutic and beneficial. Let's take another breath here. Stay for the exhale. And then come back through center. And again, the knees might go side to side. 1 or 2 or 3 more times. Coming back to our easy seated positions called Sukhasana. Again, doesn't have to be cross-legged. Keeping your sit bones, so your bum bones, on the ground. Take your hands forward and then walk as far forward with your fingertips as you can, keeping your seat down. When you feel your bum start to lift, use your hands and push back to the direction of your seat. You can hang your head if that works for you. And breathing into where it feels like there's some resistance or tightness in the body. And stay for about 3 breaths here. And let's take one more breath. And then come on up about halfway. So here we're going to walk over to the right, trying to have the knees stay nice and heavy, but gaining some length in that left side. So as far forward as you can manage, and stay for a breath or two. And then back up about halfway through center and then over to the left side. One more breath here. And then back through center and all the way up. Gently dropping your right ear over towards your right shoulder, feeling a deliberate length in that left side of the neck. And the chin might come slightly further towards the chest, or the chin might rotate slightly up towards the sky, so changing the space where you feel that in the neck. Coming back through center, deliberately let the shoulders drop heavy, and then other side. So left ear to the left shoulder until you feel that opening happening in the neck. So whenever we use the neck, anything with the spine, we're really careful and conscious of what the body's telling us. Chin might go down, and if you're moving your head at super slow, chin might also go up. And then coming back through center. Interlace your fingers here. We're going to push forward so the palms are away from you, and then reaching up towards the sky. So try to contain the low belly. We're not arcing the back here. We're trying to keep nice and tall, and maybe your gaze goes up. Take a breath in, and then release the arms down. So we're going to do a little bit of movement with breath. We're going to inhale the arms up overhead. You might look up, and then exhale back down. 2 more times. One more time, just like that. And creating a gentle twist, turning towards the right. So left hand can come maybe to your knee or your thigh. Right hand is behind you. We're not leaning back into it. It's a reminder for that nice tall spine. So we're going to inhale, sit up really nice and tall. And then exhale, start a gentle twist, encouraging yourself to go over to that right side. Take another breath in. And stay for the breath out. And one more time. And then coming back through center. Take a breath at center so there's a little space between the first and second sides. And then twisting over to the left. So left hand is behind you, a reminder. Right hand might come across. Inhale to lengthen. And then exhale into the twist. So the inhale is for a long spine. And the exhale is into the twist. So it's a little bit dynamic. There might just be a tiny bit of movement. One more breath. And then coming back through center, we're going to come into tabletop position. So onto the hands and knees. Tabletop has the wrists approximately underneath of the shoulders, and then the knees are approximately underneath of the hips. Finding a long spine here. So that's a little sort of pull in of the low belly in towards the spine. And you can tuck or untuck your toes. That's your personal preference. So we want to be strong through the center. We're going to be moving our limbs, and we want to try to stabilize so that the body's not moving as we move our limbs. So we're going to start with that right arm. We're going to inhale. You might just slide the fingertips forward, or the arm might come all the way up off of the floor, and then exhale, bring it back down. Left arm forward and maybe up as you inhale, and then exhale, bring it back down. Take a breath here, stabilize the center, and then we're going to do that with the legs. So again, you can slide the leg back. You might have your toes on the floor, or you might be able to float your heels. So we'll start with that right leg up on an inhale, and then exhale, bring it back down. Second side, left leg goes back, maybe up, and then down. Stay here for a breath. We're going to coordinate that into a balancing table. So it's opposite arm and leg. We can reach the right arm forward, left leg back. You can stay connected to the floor or lift up. We're going to stay here for a breath. So breathe out. Inhale here, and then come on back down. Second side, left arm, right leg. Extend from center, but keep it tied in through that center piece of core, and then come on back down. Take a breath. You can always sit back on your heels if your wrists need a little bit of movement. Okay, so we're going to do the same thing. Option to stay with what works for you, or option to add a little bit. So coming back into our tabletop. And we'll start with the right arm and the left leg to extend. Now you can stay here, you can be on the floor, or as you exhale, elbow and knee come together like a little crunch. It's a rounding of the spine. Inhale to extend, and then exhale to round. Let's do that one more time. And then come back to tabletop. So before the other side, we'll take a child's pose. Knees can go nice and wide, hips back towards the heels, and then we'll just let up on the wrists here. So you might turn your palms to the sky, or you can roll out the wrists and drop your head. Forehead might come to the floor. And when you're ready, coming back to tabletop, setting up. And we'll take that on the other side. Left arm, right leg to extend. Find what works for you, floor or up. And then option to stay here, or take those 3 crunches, elbow and knee come together. Bring your head with you, chin to chest. Inhale as we extend, and then exhale to round. One more time if you're moving. And then landing back in tabletop. So tabletop, we'll do cat-cow tilt. So same thing we did from seated. This time we're doing it from the hands and knees. So inhale, the belly curls down towards the floor as either end reaches up. And then exhales like a Halloween cat, mid-spine to sky, chin to chest, tailbone tucks to the knees. Inhale to extend and then curl. And then exhale to round and compress. One more each way. Okay, coming all the way down onto your front body. I'm going to set up into Sphinx pose. So this is a supported back bend where we use the forearms. The elbows can be approximately underneath of the shoulders. If it's too much, you bring them closer towards the hips. And think about lowering your low ribs down. So if we're here and we're kind of lifting up, we want it to be that the low ribs can sink down towards the earth. So we're propping up. Had a teacher, she said, it's like kids watching TV on a Saturday morning with their elbows. And then if it works for you, soften the glutes. So sometimes we have this unintentional holding or clenching with other parts of the body that are trying to help. And we'll take another breath or two here. Of course, you can come out at any time before that. And then release all the way down. So you might make a little pillow, one hand on top of the other for your forehead, or you can turn a cheek if that works for you. And it can be a nice release to roll the hips side to side. We're going to come into a gentle half frog. So sort of like you're lying in bed. You're going to take that right knee and slide it up the floor towards your right elbow. Now you can move your arms and support your body accordingly. You can turn your head maybe in the opposite direction of the knee. And just without overthinking it, the knee comes right up to just the right spot. The foot lands at just the right spot. And we're really getting into a nice gentle opening in the hip and the low back. So see if you can release tension here. We're not looking to engage muscles. We're just using gravity, using the earth to hold here for a couple of breaths. Let's take one more. And then gently and slowly coming back to where we started, which is sliding the right leg down. Again, hands might come underneath of the forehead, and if it would feel good, you could try bending the knees and maybe swishing the feet side to side. So we're going to do that on the other side. Legs come back, left leg bends this time. You can turn your head accordingly and finding that nice heavy land here with the whole body. If you think about or feel how heavy your body is when we don't need to hold it. It can really give you a sense of weight and gravity. Let's take another breath or two. And then again, lengthen the left leg back down the mat or your space. And then again, you can wiggle the hips or maybe bend your knees and just let the feet go side to side a few times. You're going to come over onto the back. So if it works for you, you can just log roll over, or you can make your way back through a tabletop and come all the way down onto the back body. And just take a moment. So we want to land. We want to support the low back. Let the hips land. You can bend your knees and have your feet out wide, sort of like a tent shape. That's a really great way to support any sensitivity in the low back. If it feels okay in your body, bringing the soles of your feet together and letting the knees fall open, butterfly pose, Supta Baddha Konasana. And then, in this posture, you can have one hand on your heart, one hand on your belly, if that works for you. And again, we're trying not to clench up away from whatever variation we're in, but be supported by the earth. And take a few breaths here, just offering some neutrality for the spine. Make a little reset. And you can reach down, help your knees together, and hug them in towards your chest. You might move around a little bit, massage your organs through your low back. And if it would work for you, happy baby. So this is where we bring the knees out to the sides of the body. And the feet, it's like they're standing on the ceiling. So holding behind the knees might work, or holding the feet. If you're opting here, you can take the feet from the outside. And of course, babies kind of wiggle around and explore their limbs. Sometimes it's nice to maybe stretch a leg to your capability and the other, just kind of check it out. This posture is making space in the hips. It's like a down compression. So just check out that your tailbone isn't curling up off the floor, but it's actually supported on the earth. If it's curling up, just give yourself a little bit more space to move around. Okay, maybe the ankles move as well, so you can rotate the ankles like we did with the wrists. And then we'll bring the feet down to the earth. So we're going to set up into a figure 4 hip release. This is taking the right ankle over the left knee, and you might direct the right knee away from you. You can flex your right foot, great way to support the knee. If it works for you and there's space, reaching through your little figure 4 to maybe behind the left thigh or the left shin, and bringing the left knee in towards. So we're targeting that right hip, the right outside of that right hip space. So whatever variation works for you. And I find sometimes we tend to roll off to the right. See if you can feel the back of your hip plate on the floor. So maybe a little bit of movement or a gentle rolling over towards that left side. Just subtle can change the sensation of the posture. So we'll take a few more breaths here. Notice we're not crunching up through the shoulders or transferring tension into the face or the jaw, but really just targeting this hip opener. So we're going to bring the left foot back to the floor if it was not already, and then cross your right knee all the way over your left. You're going to scoot the hips over towards the right and then drop those knees that are stacked over towards the left. So this creates a bound twist. We want the shoulders open, arms can take some space here. If it's too much to have the knees crossed, you can simply uncross them and stack. Your gaze can go in whatever direction feels best for your neck. So when we're twisting, we're using the earth and just letting the body have a little bit of a rinse. Let's take a big breath in and out. And come back through center. I'm going to realign the hips because we tuck them over to the side, and then again take a little pause so the knees might tent in, or again we can revisit that butterfly pose where the knees open like a book. And just offering a sort of a reset. So one side to the other, we want them to be separate. And then when you're ready, bring the soles of your feet back to the earth, and we'll take that on the other side. So left ankle over the right knee, and hips are usually different from one side to the other. So we try not to have the expectation that it will be the same, and it might be really different. It might be subtly different. So please don't think the posture has to be the same, look the same, feel the same. Left knee might go away. You might be great to stay here, or the space to bring that right side closer to you, which will probably increase the sensation in that left hip. And then we flex the foot because it's a reminder. We want the toes and the knees to be facing in the same direction. So it just gives some support for that knee, softening the shoulders and the jaw and the thoughts and the breath. Let's take another breath or two here. And then releasing that right leg back to the floor. Cross your left leg all the way over if that's going to work for you. And then we'll scoot the hips over to the left a little bit so we can actually roll onto that right hip. Bring the left hip with, and then we're encouraging the shoulders to just be with gravity. So opening of the arms is a great way to give the shoulders a little bit more space. And then the neck can be part of the twist if you like. Let's take another breath here. And then coming back through center, unraveling the legs. And again, you might send the knees side to side, or just take a little pause. So realigning, sort of resetting the spine back to its neutral. Okay, so we're going to hug the knees in towards the chest here. Again, if you wanted to add, you could really squeeze your forehead or your nose up towards your knees, taking a breath. And then release. So we're going to come into banana asana. This is lengthening the arms and legs away from the center body. So we stick the hips to the earth. They don't move, but we use the limbs, the sides of the body, to make a nice crescent or banana shape. So we're going to walk the heels over to the right. Okay, and we're going to walk the arms over to the right. So we're going to try to keep the left shoulder and the left hip down. If it works for you to add, you might cross your left heel over your right ankle and maybe encourage the left wrist with that right hand. So we're opening the left side of the body, breathing into that space, compressing the right side. And take another 2 to 3 breaths here. And then come back through center. Take a moment at center, so there's that reset. And then as you're ready, curling it over, so heels to the left, arms to the left, shoulders might go slightly. And you can stay or maybe hook that right ankle and take a hold of that right wrist just to gently lengthen a little bit more so we're not forcing or straining. Let's take one more breath. Let that right side be heavy, especially through the hip and the shoulder. And then center. You can release, arms can come down to the sides. It might feel nice to curl into yourself and hug the knees in. So we're going to turn over onto the side here. You can bring your knees with you. Take a moment supporting your head with your bottom arm. And then using that top arm to push you up to a seated position. So we're going to finish together in a seated position. Cross-legged if that works. Knees are heavy. And just let your hands land on your knees and find a tall spine. So we'll sit for about 1 minute. If you feel comfortable, you can close your eyes or just let your gaze land. Let there be some softness about your face and your jaw and a little bit of heaviness from the shoulders down into the hips. And let's take 5 breaths here together. See if you can make the inhale and exhale about the same length, long and smooth. And let's finish our time together with a nice big long inhale here. And then exhale. If it works for you, you can bring your palms together in front of your heart, as if you can reach your heart up towards your thumbs and a slight bowing of your chin down towards your fingertips. You're bowing in towards yourself. And then we finish with namaste, which means that the light within me honors and recognizes the light within you. Namaste.